is anger. Yeah, so what is anger? Anger is one of our most powerful, vital emotions. It is a necessary tool for survival for individuals and communities. However, anger can become problematic, very problematic, if it persists in your everyday life and if it starts to have impact on your thinking, your feelings, your behaviour and your relationships. So it's okay to feel angry. I know, but it is. It really, really is. A lot of people say, no, it's not. Shouldn't be angry. Shouldn't feel anything like that. Well, you know, if you're saying that, then you're saying basically you can't feel a vital human emotion and telling yourself not to feel that. Like I say, it's okay to feel angry. It's not nice. I hate feeling angry. Takes up a lot of my day and it really is a waste of time. But we do need this anger. And it's okay to feel angry. It's just how we act and how we behave on it. Okay? But what is anger? Anger is one of our most basic human emotions, okay? Okay. It is a physical and mental response to a threat or to harm done in the past. Anger takes on many forms, from irritation, like a mild, irritation, to blinding rage, or resentment that can persist over many, many years. You can really, keep it buried deep down inside and you can feel that resentment hanging over you. Really, really big waste of time, but totally normal human emotion. Anger has 3 components. I'm going to tell you what they are and just give you examples from my life to help you understand. So we've got a physical component. The physical reaction, excuse me looking down by the way, and my research today is taken from a mental health foundation. They are a charity, mental health charity working in Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. So their information is below. So physical, what is the physical reactions normally begin with a rush of adrenaline, and responses can include increased heart rate, blood pressure, tightening of the muscles. This is our fight, flight or freeze response, our stress response, our fear response. So this is the same response that we have to understand threats, to understand danger. So this is why we need our anger, because it can protect us, from those woolly mammoths at the door when we were first becoming human beings, to help us fight against. So fight would be your anger. Flight would probably be anxiety, avoidance, running away, whereas anger would be your fight, I would say. So for me, I have BPD. Because of that, I am pretty much permanently in that fight or flight stage and can be very quick to anger. So I will go very quick to fight, especially maybe if I'm having a bit of road rage, or if I've woken up and someone has maybe looked at me funny and now I'm perceiving this as that they've done something wrong and I need to protect myself, and then my anger begins to protect myself. So that's the first component of anger, the physical, the fight, flight or freeze. The second is our cognitive experience, so how we perceive, how we think about this anger. So I might say, someone, let's say they've insulted me, they said, Gemma, that video you did last week was absolutely terrible. Well, my physical reaction would probably be to fight and say, well, I'd like to see you do a video like that. I'd like to see you put all the effort in that I've done. Because that's how I'm perceiving it. I'm perceiving them saying this as something I need to be fearful, to fight against, because my brain and my body are constantly in this place. They're always looking out for a fight. They're hyper vigilant, hyper alert. So the physical things happening, also as well as that, my cognitive functioning is impaired. So it's saying, yes, you need to be angry with this person. Yes, you do. Yes, you need to shout at them. And that's where we come onto our third component, the behavioural side. So this is any behaviour that constitutes anger. So that signals anger. So this could be raising one's voice, shouting, or it could be slamming a door, throwing something across the room. It could be hitting yourself. It could be self-harm. It could be punching a wall. It could be breaking something. It could be cutting your arm. It could be hitting someone. There are lots of different ways that our anger comes out in our behaviours, and this is when anger is a huge, huge problem. Obviously, the other two components are a problem too. But if we're hitting people, if we're getting violent and abusing people, abusing ourselves, then this is a real problem, and this is when we need to get support for anger. There's information in the description below for support for anger. So for me, my behavioural signs, so let's say the physical, my fight or flight is there, my cognitive is saying it's 100% their fault, not mine, and then my behaviour would be to throw things, to slam doors, to maybe go and then hurt myself. So those are the three components of anger, and I hope I've explained those enough by giving you examples from my life. Why do we get angry? Why do we need this? Well, we've talked about it. It's our fight or flight. But there are three things that can create this anger. So we've got the trigger event. So what actually happens to trigger this anger response? Now, then it's the individual characteristics of that person that's experiencing the anger. Everyone's different, so everyone's going to experience it differently. And finally, it's how we interpret and how we give our appraisal of the situation. So I'm going to go into more detail about both of those. So why do we get angry? The trigger event. So typically there is some sort of event that occurs right before someone gets angry, such as being insulted. The majority of the time people tend to believe that the event or person has caused their anger. So I got angry, they insulted me, therefore I got angry. Okay, so that's the trigger event. But if you're not maybe an angry person, let's say like c'est moi, then you may not get angry by this response, because you may say, well, they've insulted me, and actually say, well, that's probably more about what they're dealing with in their own head. If they're coming out with anger and pushing anger on me, then it's likely that they're dealing with their own stuff. So what I could then say is, that's their problem. I'm not going to get angry. So you need more than just a trigger event. So let's talk about the next one, individual characteristics, and this is broken down into two parts. So we've got our personality traits. So we could be battling with our own mental health problems. We could be having difficulties with maybe narcissistic personalities, or maybe very competitive people. So if you're already kind of like already thinking, you know, you've got sort of like maybe that in your personality, that you're quite quick to go to these things, or maybe you're competitive. So if someone comes at you with an insult, you'll be very much to defend yourself, because you know you're not going to be putting up with that sort of comment. So that's the personality traits. There's also the pre-anger state. So this refers to how someone is feeling psychologically before the trigger event. Feeling tired, agitated, already angry can increase the likelihood of that person being even more angry. So for me, my personality traits is I do have problems with my personality traits. So I have mental illness, I have severe anxiety, and because of my personality disorder, I'm always in that fight or flight. So my personality traits will be very much like, yes, I'm going to get angry. Pre-anger state as well, because I'm in that fight or flight, and because if I feel tired, I can be grumpy. If I'm hungry, this can very quickly go to anger, or hangry, as Andy and I call it. And just, you know, and if I'm kind of already feeling angry, you know, if I've woken up and I'm in a bad mood because of my BPD, I'll already be feeling angry. That means the trigger event that maybe didn't make me angry the first time could make me angry this time, because I'm already feeling angry. So you see, you need more than one thing to make this anger happen. So if you have got the individual characteristics, you are more likely, the individual characteristics of personality traits and the pre-anger state being already quite elevated, then you're going to be very likely to go towards anger. Finally, how you interpret or give your appraisal of the situation. So you could be like, in your appraisal, say, well, they are totally unjustified, this deserves to be punished, their behaviour is abhorrent, whatever, or, you know, etc. So if you're likely to have that, so it's almost like having a distorted version of events. So if you have a sound mind and maybe don't live in this fight, flight or freeze, you're probably going to say, do you know what, they've insulted me, but the way they've done it is actually more their issue than mine. Whereas if you're very angry and quick to defend yourself because you're in that fight or flight, then you're going to blame everything on that person. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're incorrect in doing that, because if they have insulted you, they might well deserve a bit of a, hey, that wasn't very nice. But it's when you start coming back with punching, elevated voice, loud voice, slamming doors, throwing stuff, then that takes your anger to the next level. So you need those three combination of factors in order to have an anger reaction. Just say those again. So the trigger event, the individual characteristics, and the appraisal of the situation. So finally, to sum up, anger is my least favourite emotion. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. I hate who I am when I'm angry. I hate who I become. I've broken many things. I've broken myself, I've broken my phone, I've broken doors, I've broken windows, I've made dents in walls, I've made dents in myself, and all because of anger. And I'm really struggling with it at the moment. My anger seems to be getting much more out of control, which is why I've put this video together, to actually help myself, to give myself a better understanding of what anger is. But I just want to end and say anger is a very important emotion. Just because you feel it doesn't mean you're a horrible person. Anger is totally normal. It's how we act on it, how we behave on it, and how we live our lives with it. If we are constantly being met with anger, it is persisting and it is having an impact on our thoughts, feelings, behaviours and relationships. That's when we need to get help. Okay? There's information in the space below for support for anger, but in my next anger video, anger part 2, I'll be talking about how to manage your anger. I hope this has been interesting. I hope you found it useful. Please put any comments or questions you have. Tell me about your anger. How do you deal with it? What are your things that go to you? What triggers you? Do you have particular personality traits that mean you're more likely to get anger? Do you have a pre-anger state that you're like, okay, I'm feeling angry, I know now I need to cope with that, otherwise I'm going to escalate? Whatever your information, whatever your story, please talk to me about you. I always talk about me, and I really want to hear from you guys about your anger and how you deal with it. Like I say, any comments, questions, put them in the space below. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already.